One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family.
Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone for free right now. Join the neighborhood at ring.com.
The mighty Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. I am overjoyed by that. Hi, this is Alex, host of the Doomed Planet podcast. You're listening to episode 131, 100 Seattle Psychopaths. Someone had a sign at the Super Bowl that said, "Let's fucking go. Nice job, Seahawks." And it was in green lettering, but a fuck ice is lettered in black. Before I get going here, I want to tell everybody that we produced a 12-page Doomed Planet newspaper. It's got original investigative reporting and then a podcast guide to every episode. And also, of course, an ad for Chop Mart guillotine supplies. I want to thank Brian Platt. He's a regular contributor to this podcast for accepting an assignment to write about Furland Sanatorium. Furland Sanatorium's final solution for Seattle's white plague. Vile criminals and degenerates were incarcerated in what is now a private Christian school. And of course, I wrote an article called The Seattle Restaurant Wage and Tip Theft Hall of Fame. That's an update of a Doom Planet podcast episode number 100 of the same name, which came out in August of 2023. Doomed Planet 2026 edition, the Doom Planet podcast newspaper. It's going to come out once a year. I'm going to slowly distribute these 3,000 copies throughout the year. If you're dying to get a copy, you can email me, doomplanetpod@gmail.com. Or if you are in Seattle, you can find a copy for the next couple months at least in Georgetown at Fantagraphics Books and All City Coffee. In the International District at World Pizza, on Capitol Hill at Cafe Vita, Seattle Central Community College Library and Elliott Bay Books. In the U District at the U Bookstore, Cafe Allegro is a good bet. They have a nice little cubby for newspapers. If you're in Seward Park, Cafe Vita and Third Place Books, and more distro spots coming soon. It's nice to have printed matter instead of just digital shit, which is basically what this podcast is, or was, until we put out a newspaper. And I think if like 5 young people pick up this Doom Planet 2026 edition, 5 young people maybe from Spokane who have right-wing parents and they're in Seattle somehow, and they pick up Doom Planet and their mind is blown, and then they start listening to the podcast, then mission accomplished, and it was a success. So we'll see if that happens. If you want to read Brian's sanitarium article or my wage and tip theft piece, go to Substack and search for Doomed Planet, and you will find it there online. Did I mention that the Seattle Seahawks, my beloved NFL team, won the Super Bowl? Quickly, some of the ads this year were for artificial intelligence, gambling, crypto, right-wing MAGA and Zionist propaganda. That was a funny one. The dirty Jew on the Post-it note PSA. Ring camera, surveillance cameras, pharmaceuticals, and junk food. So that is as American as it can get. Combine that with the Super Bowl, and that's it. That's what we are, unfortunately. The Ring camera Super Bowl ad had some Blowback, major blowback. 10 million pets go missing each year. It says the ad. And then they're like, we find one dog a day. So according to Oxtray on Twitter, that's 0.003% of the 10 million missing pets. Shortly after the commercial ran, Ring terminated its partnership with the police tech surveillance company Flock Safety. I think people were realizing, wait a minute, this panopticon of surveillance that these cameras are a part of, they're not just recognizing lost dogs. One of the biggest cell phones in advertising history, said Isaac Saul. You spent millions of dollars for a 30-second Super Bowl spot to tell everyone you're spying on them, immediately destroying your brand reputation and upending your business model. This is a great one. Big Fish PR deleted something on their website. God, public relations, is there something more reprehensible than advertising? Or is it that all just one thing? Marketing, advertising, public relations, Hasbara, propaganda. Big Fish PR delivered a standout public relations campaign for Ring's Super Bowl ad debut, generating significant national attention. Oh, they did. They did generate significant national attention. In GeekWire, that's one of those, I don't know, I kind of like it, but they kind of reprint a lot of press releases from the tech industry. It's not like really hard-hitting investigative journalism. I do like Todd Bishop. He's writing what Ring's search party actually does and why its Super Bowl ad gave people the creeps. I don't really have to elaborate on what it does. We know what it does. It spies on people and then sends that information to law enforcement. There's a couple of our neighbors in our wonderful Seattle neighborhood here that one neighbor has 2 Ring cameras pointing from the door and out his window. And I really hope I run into him one day and maybe we can discuss it. And I'll say, what's so valuable in your McMansion that you need these surveillance cameras? Like, is someone going to come steal your Amazon stock options? Dude, you're insulting your neighbors. On the other hand, I like to keep a low profile. Don't poop where you eat, as they say. So probably won't say anything. Gary Cobain from Montesano, Washington. It's doing a GoFundMe. I have his phone number and we could call him, but what is the entertainment value in being mean to this poor guy? And there's a picture on his GoFundMe and you can see the classic wood paneling. I guess he lives in the same trailer that Kurt's grandpa lived in. He inherited that. And then there's like bad Kurt Cobain fan art on the wood paneling wall. Gary Cobain, Kurt Cobain's paternal uncle, is in urgent need of help. His trailer, featured in Nirvana's Sliver, this must be a video, is falling apart, and he needs help to survive the winter. Sadly, Gary's only raised about $1,200 since this came up in December. As shocking as this may sound, it's not uncommon for relatives of celebrities to be forgotten about or even completely left out of proceedings, particularly if the death was unexpected and or occurred so early on in the celebrity's life. So, never count on an inheritance, but, what was Gary thinking? Kurt's parents were kind of piece of shit, bad parents. I don't think it was a case of, we're going to do the best we can with our limited resources. His dad was a car mechanic or whatever. No, they were piece of shit, bad parents, and it fucked up Kurt. And, just living in Aberdeen, that's not a great place to raise a kid. That would be the first step to being a good parent. Just move over to Seattle where there's incredible amounts of opportunity and a lot of stuff going on. Oh, well. Given to him by his late father, Leland Cobain, Gary's trailer is a historic place. His nephew, Kurt Cobain, often spent a lot of time there as a child, as it was his grandparents' house. Gary had lots of plans of what he wanted to do with the trailer, but sadly, due to financial difficulties, didn't manage to. He's now in a position where basic amenities are lacking. The hot water heater has been broken for months. He has to rely on hose water, in quotes there. It's going to cost $1,500 to replace the heater. His lot rent has increased. He's on a fixed income. He doesn't have transportation. He has to walk 3 miles into town. I'm not a big fan of evil monster Courtney Love, but she has no responsibility for... I know that she takes care of Kurt's mom and sister. She has no responsibility to dole out money to all these relatives. It sucks. This is why we have Trump. You have this guy, white guy in an impoverished area. The only industry there was forestry, and that was decimated long ago. He doesn't have many opportunities. He probably didn't get a good education. And he's isolated and angry and sad and mad, and he has to humiliate himself by begging on GoFundMe. According to the GoFundMe, Gary doesn't have much. He keeps all his Kurt memorabilia, as he's always loved his nephew deeply. Now, Kurt's memorabilia, this one weasel went to Kurt's grandpa and bought a bunch of Kurt stuff and made a small fortune on it. If he had any good Kurt memorabilia, maybe he could sell that instead of doing a GoFundMe, but I've got a feeling he doesn't have anything. Okay, so we will provide full details of how Gary uses his funds and any associated receipts. Okay, sure you will. Well, he's only raised $1,200, and I don't know. If I was a billionaire, I'd just kick in. I'd give him $100,000. Why not? Why not? Microsoft genius and patent troll Nathan Myhrvold in deep doo-doo over the Epstein files and his relationship with the, with piece of shit Jeffrey Epstein. I've always been a fan of tabloid journalism and the scandal sheets and whatnot, and I admittedly watch TMZ. I'm sorry, it's a guilty pleasure. It's amusing when they get into politics, but like they say, politicians are celebrities now more than ever. The Epstein fallout has been incredible, and it's just starting. So Nathan Myhrvold, but also Bill Gates and the Clintons. Good times. We need a Green New Deal. We need a progressive tax system, a wealth tax, reasonable inheritance taxes for billionaires, a public option for groceries, banking, postage. I say nationalize Amazon. Imagine that. Make that into a public service, and also public options for internet and phone service. Is that really too much to ask these grotesque, recently, now it's been revealed to everyone, criminal Nazi pedophiles who also happen to be billionaires. Who would have thought? Speaking of criminals, it seems that BrewDog has a plan to sell, and it leaves some equity punk investors steaming. 220,000 people could be left empty-handed if a deal prioritizes the company's private equity backer, according to The Guardian. An army of angry punk shareholders have voiced anger and frustration after the Scottish brewer confirmed plans for a sale that could render their investments worthless. The plan showed that the small investors who helped to kickstart BrewDog's growth after it was started in 2007 meant nothing to the company. The loss-making craft beer firm confirmed it had appointed consultants to evaluate the next phase of investment for business. BrewDog is either being sold in full or broken up to attract investors interested in components such as its 72 bars and 4 breweries, and its stable of popular brands such as Punk IPA and Elvis Juice. Any deal could trigger a windfall for the 21% private equity investor TSG, which bought a stake in 2017. Wow, how original. An IPA beer called Punk. That is pathetic. James Watt co-founded BrewDog. He's going to make a fortune when he screws over all his small investors. So that's charming. Now, he's not in the Epstein files that we know of, so we'll give him that. Okay, the Puget Sound Business Journal's Power 100. Meet the Puget Sound region's most influential business leaders and change makers. I'm obviously not going to talk about all 100 people here. Urban Visions pays $4.3 million for a Selig site. Martin Selig, the octogenarian real estate king of Seattle, Martin Selig developed the Columbia Center, which was the tallest building on the West Coast for a long time and is still the 42nd tallest building in the United States at 933 feet. Was really hammered by the pandemic. His office empire is insolvent. He keeps having to have forced sales of his properties. What goes up must come down, Martin. I think I've talked about him and his kids on a different episode. It is kind of sad to be this, everyone looks at you as he's such a successful rich guy who did so well. And then at the end of your life, people are like, oh, he's a piece of shit that overextended himself and then lost everything. Let's hope that happens to alleged womanizer Bill Gates.
I had dinners with him.
The Business Journal's Power 100, that's subjective. It's not a scientific thing. Even it's the annual look at the individuals who had the biggest impact on the local business community in 2025. And they've been doing this for 7 years. Philanthropists, collaborators, entrepreneurs, industry veterans, startup pioneers, educators, and sports franchise owners. The list was chosen by the Business Journal's leadership team and is in alphabetical order. Chris and Ted Ackerley Partners. Barry Ackerley was the guy that owned a successful billboard company and owned the Sonics before selling them to Howard Schultz. Apparently they're real assholes. You could Google them. There's some disputes they got involved with neighbors and whatnot. Jody Allen, owner of the Seahawks. Jody has had really good luck with the sports franchises she inherited from her late brother, Paul. They sold the Portland Trail Blazers for billions of dollars. It's rumored that the Seahawks are on the auction block, and that could bring, they say, $8 or $9 billion. She's definitely, as one of the richest people in the area, she's definitely should be in the Power 100. You can Google her. There's some erratic behavior and weirdness, but Paul never had kids, so Jody and her kids are the dynasty. Okay, breaking news as we go to publish this episode of the Doomed Planet podcast. We have learned that the Seahawks are officially up for sale. There's some talk about, well, let's take the Seahawks public so that the public can all own a piece of the Seahawks. Like anyone in Washington State can buy shares in the Seahawks initial public offering. It was pointed out, though, that at a valuation of $8 billion, you would need 600,000 people to kick in $15,000 each. So it seems unlikely that a Green Bay Packer scenario where the town owns the team is going to happen. Also, the NFL doesn't allow teams to do that anymore. It's it's a private group of billionaires, and they have their own internal rules. Too bad, though. So, Steve Ballmer, we're looking at you, bro. Connie Ballmer from the Ballmer Group. I thought they live in California now. She co-founded the Ballmer Group along with her husband, wacko Steve Ballmer. I love him. In 2015, she's a founding investor in Blue Meridian Partners. It was a philanthropic mission, poverty, yeah. And then big old bald Steve Ballmer. I love him. He's just so wacko, so full of energy. He was Microsoft CEO. He might be richer than Bill Gates because he held on to more of his Microsoft stock. And he's very rich and powerful, but I don't think he spends much time in Seattle anymore. And again, all these fuckers should pay their fair share of taxes. We could solve a lot of problems. Like, I don't know how many times have I said this on this podcast. Okay, if you make $1 million a year or less, you pay no taxes. After $1 million, you start paying taxes. Once you're a billionaire, then there should be a whole range of taxes. You can't hide your wealth behind the stock you haven't sold yet. There's got to be a way to fix that. And it's funny, the philanthropy never works. If you're such a generous philanthropist like Bill Gates, why does your fortune keep increasing? Jane Broom is at Microsoft. She's the senior director of philanthropy there. That's pretty funny because the Bill and Melinda, is it still called that? Gates Foundation, that's a separate philanthropic arm of Microsoft. What kind of philanthropy? Oh, they're going to global STEM, science, technology, electricity, and math. I don't know. I'm not a very smart person. Computer science education, of course. Let's get everyone a computer, and that's what you should learn. Forget about art or music or anything that provides joy to other human beings. Bob Donegan is the president of Ivar's restaurant chain. Ivar, of course, the wackadoodle publicity hound who once owned the Smith Tower in Seattle. That was also the tallest building on the West Coast for decades. He's president of Ivar's, and he's also a leading voice in the $806 million redevelopment of the Seattle waterfront. He's on the board of the Seattle Aquarium, the Historic Waterfront Association. Preston Feight, CEO of PACCAR. This is one of those giant companies many people have never heard of. They make trucks like Kenworth and whatnot. You know, heavy industrial. You know, at least they're actually making a physical thing. Kemper Freeman of Freeman Development, third generation owner of Kemper Development. He owns the Bellevue Collection. He's the biggest developer on the east side of Washington. Seattle's, sick, boring corporate sister city across the lake, Bellevue. He's developed 5.5 million square feet in Washington. He served 2 terms in the Washington House of Representatives. He's on the board of Overlake Medical Center. This guy opposed light rail to Bellevue because he thought it would hurt his bottom line somehow. Again, all these business people guaranteed are, conservative Republicans, and if not, they're Democrats. It's not much difference. Melinda French Gates. She co-founded the largest private charitable organization in the world, the Gates it's now just called the Gates Foundation. It's funny, the Epstein-related divorce, one of her complaints was that Bill overshadowed her at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And it's like, okay, he co-created one of the largest corporations of all time, and you were an employee there that married him. So, yeah, okay. I thought it was charming that Melinda got her lawyers to leak all this Jeffrey Epstein stuff to the New York Times. That was a while back now. Search the Epstein files if you want to know more about him. Rob Glazer, CEO of Real Networks. It provides streaming software, including now AI and machine learning tools. In 2022, Glazer took the company he founded in 1995 private in a $25 million deal. Now, Senator Maria Cantwell, who made her fortune at Real Networks, kind of lost some of it when she held on to the stock. She made at least that much money in the 90s. Real Networks, I never got this whole, streaming audio. How are you making money from that? It was kind of one of those .com scams where the stock got way pumped up. It was because it was early on the scene of startups. One of those things where, you ask one of these tech people, oh, what is it your company does? And they're like, oh, I'd never be able to explain it to you. It would take too long. Ariane Gorin of Expedia became CEO there in 2024. Expedia is that the online travel agency? I don't know. Jay Graber is the CEO of social media site Blue Sky. Prior to that, she worked doing software for blockchain and crypto organizations. This is like Twitter/X. I love that. A lot of my favorite journalists are still on there. And then people are saying, oh, it's too mean. We're going to Blue Sky. And Blue Sky is like Hillary Clinton Democrats. And I have an account there. Every time I've tried to open it a few times and just not going on for me. I do like Twitter. Rochelle James is the CEO of Tulalip Tribes. The business they are in is gambling.
And now a word from our sponsor.
When your life is one big pain, you can get away now. Come have fun at Tulalip. We have everything you love to play now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Great times are here today now. And you have fun, fun, fun at the number one place for fun. Fun, fun at the number one place. Tulalip at the number one place for fun.
Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon. Ugh. He's a bland corporate nebbish. His Twitter account says that he's a chicken wing fan. His sister is a PR executive. And, wealthy family, all the right schools, Ivy League degrees, and very lucky to be a Seattleite and hook up with old Jeff Bezos right at the beginning. He's also a wealth hoarder who should be taxed out of existence. Chad McKay, Fire and Vine Hospitality. He's a restaurateur overseeing El Gaucho, which now has 5 fancy steakhouse locations. I must say that while researching the Seattle Restaurant Wage and Tip Theft Hall of Fame article, his name or El Gaucho did not come up. So good for him. Trish Milinis DeZicco of the Technology Access Foundation. She left Microsoft in 1996 to start the nonprofit. They want to encourage people of color to do what? Oh, let me guess. Science, technology, engineering. Once a corporate stooge, always a corporate stooge. If we looked up on Charity Navigator what she pays herself for being the CEO of this nonprofit, I can bet you she has a generous salary. Molly Moon Neitzel of Molly Moon's Ice Cream. It's going to be hard for me to badmouth Molly. It's among the region's largest women-owned companies. Okay, so that makes me angry because it's a small ice cream chain and not, a giant corporation. They focus on local, sustainable food banks, community organizing. Good for you, Molly. Satya Nadella, am I doing a racist accent of an Indian who is very rich and hoards his wealth? He's the third CEO in Microsoft's history. He had Bill and then Steve and then Satya. Phenomenal growth. It's a $4 trillion company. Again, I remember the old days when the internet bubble took off. Microsoft got noticed, and people said, well, this is a tech company, except they're incredibly profitable and growing at a phenomenal rate. And then that stock just took off. And people around here got so fucking rich. It's hard to imagine, especially the early Microsoft people. Since then, it's only gone higher. Brian Niccol is the satanic, allegedly, CEO of Starbucks, laying off a bunch of workers, trying to bust unions, and he's getting paid, I think, $50 million a year, and he commutes from Southern California to Seattle in a jet. Eric and Pete Nordstrom, old money retailer families. Again, these are all mostly, conservative, right-wing, we don't want to pay taxes kind of people, but you have to give it to them. I think, what are they, the third generation of Nordstroms? So, Seattle rich kids, but also that's a tough business, man. So I think a lot of CEOs don't do shit. Like Elon Musk, he's the CEO of 3 major companies. Like, how much time can he possibly devote to each of them? I think Eric and Pete work their ass off. Why am I thinking that? I think they do. Kelly Ortberg is the CEO of Boeing. That's the local company that makes weapons of mass destruction used to kill Palestinians and other people. Jeff Rakes was the CEO of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He now has his own foundation. Managing your money with a team of people that help you do that. Trisha Rakes, the co-founder. She formerly led creative services at Microsoft. Heather Redman, Flying Fish Partners, venture capital firm. If you don't know what that is, VCs will invest in a company, and then they expect a chunk of that company. Then when that company runs out of money, they do a second round of investment, and their goal is to leave the founders with nothing and own a majority of whatever company they invest in. It's happened a lot. Bill Robertson is the CEO of Tacoma-based Multicare Health with 20,000 employees. He's expanded. He serves on several nonprofit business and economic development boards. Hospital CEOs are evil. They make millions of dollars a year. Their salaries are insane. I know Cassie Sauer, who's the propaganda minister for the Washington Hospital Association, she makes $1 million a year.
our concern is really the impact to patients. It doesn't work to keep operating at 10% of expenses over revenue, and at some point you have to cut what services you provide.
And the only people that don't hate her, I bet, are these healthcare executives and hospital executives that make millions and millions of dollars a year. I have the misfortune of having met her many times. She lives in the neighborhood. Mackenzie Scott, okay, you have to love her. She put her money where her mouth is. She got half of the Bezos fortune in the divorce from old Jeff Bezos. And she's giving it away like crazy. Billions and billions. And here's the thing, no strings. Here's your 50 million or whatever. Do what you want. Spend it with your nonprofit how you want. Boy, that Bezos divorce, that's, again, as a fan of tabloid journalism, boy, that was a sweet time. And, she's not, Melinda is this stuck up, ugh. She's not like Melinda, like, I'm so important and this or that. She knows that she lucked out here and she's giving it away. That's the way to give it away. Like, she's on the way to giving most of it away. That Warren Buffett, Bill Gates giving pledge bullshit, which is a lie. She is actually doing that. So good for her. We're bad mouthing all these rich pigs here, but I can't think of anything bad to say about Mackenzie. Brad Smith is the top lawyer and president of Microsoft. I wonder what he thinks about open source software. What if Microsoft made, just say Word, open source? It's free now, free for schools, free for universities. Think of how much school systems would save that are using that and paying dearly for it right now. Bill Starrett of the Puyallup tribe of Indians.
I live in Tacoma, and I'm all about the action. From making a run at the tables to multiple pay lines on my favorite machines. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
He's trying to add to the tribe's economic diversification efforts. So here's how that works. The tribe has valuable gambling concessions that bring in millions. A very small group of tribal members make all the money. The rest of the people on the res continue to live impoverished. Devin Stockfish, CEO of Weyerhaeuser, these are the heavy hitters, man. These are some of the most powerful corporate executives in the world based here in lovely Seattle. $7 billion in sales in 2024. Not the most responsible forestry, clear cutting whole, swaths of land and then planting a monoculture of replacement trees. Oh, Ethan Stowell, James Beard Award nominated chef, leader of Ethan Stowell Restaurants, which he sold recently. His wife was CEO of Fair Start at one point. It's a nonprofit that does the prison to low-wage non-union restaurant work pipeline. She was paid a fortune to work as CEO of that nonprofit, by the way. Peter Tomazawa, Seattle World Cup Organizing Committee. That's going to be a disaster. Ron Vacris is the second-year CEO of Costco. I'm not a huge fan of Costco. I don't like crowds, and I don't want to shop for food at a place that sells sweatpants and like bad hardback art books. And I have no need for a 40-pound bag of Doritos. Jeremy Waxman at Zillow, CEO. Okay, whatever, real estate, website, whatever. Went public and made some people rich. That's what happens. Matt Wadhwani is a Puyallup tribe investor. They invested in an Amazon sorting facility. Major economic overhaul by the 6,000-member Puyallup tribe, where he is CFO. He wants to diversify away from, of course, gambling. Howard Wright. Okay, here's Ethan Stowell sold his company to Howard Wright of the Seattle Hospitality Group. I am pretty sure they own the Space Needle. And also about Ethan Stowell Restaurants, Pike Brewing, and Fremont Brewing. No comment about the former politician that sold Fremont Brewing to Howard Wright. Ooh, here's an ad for the Rainier Club. Our clubhouse never speaks. The Rainier Club has been a part of Seattle since 1888. This is one of those men's clubs where you sit around in leather chairs and smoke cigars. Today, growth-minded individuals come here to put their phones down, talk with peers, enjoy access to inspiring experiences, and sip proper cocktails. People on the move here in Seattle. Just corporate headshots of white people. Max Hanley, Propel Insurance, Patrick Boyd, Ryan Swanson in Cleveland, PLLC, or the Puget Sound Business Journal, has, they do these great lists, database lists of stuff. Residential real estate transactions. Biggest residential real estate transaction through November 7th of last year, the Coachella Trust and Eric J. Fallman sold 1615 Roanoke Way in Mercer Island to Napar LLC for $25 million. Times are tough. A lot of layoffs among tech people here, tech corporations here in Seattle. Here's an ad. Software engineer for Stripe Incorporated. It'd be my worst nightmare to be sitting in front of a computer doing shit like this. Design, implement, and deploy scalable solutions, making appropriate trade-offs between reliability, throughput, latency, resiliency. You need a master's degree in computer science. $225,000 to $240,000 a year. Well, standard benefits. Okay. Okay, it seems our producer and sound engineer and a team of writers don't want me to go past 45 minutes or so for any one episode of the Doomed Planet podcast. And that's too bad because I have the Puget Sound Business Journal book of lists for 2025-2026. $100 cover price. Wow, that's incredible. This has everything, top CEO pay, just the Business Journal. By the way, this is a profitable media company and newspaper. Just every possible chart and list here. Top corporate philanthropists, top women-owned companies, and all of that. So be safe out there, people, and don't do any unsanitary things.
And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. Cocaine off of toilet seats.
5, 6, 7, 8. Goodbye. This is the end of the song. Find out more at doomedplanet.com. Goodbye.